Imagine a child sitting at the dinner table, hearing her father say, "Money doesn't grow on trees," while her mother adds, "Rich people can't be trusted." She doesn't fully understand the meaning, but she feels the weight. The tone, the look, the silence after those words, all of it gets imprinted. Time passes. That child grows up, lands a good job, earns more than she ever imagined. But strangely, she starts spending impulsively, missing opportunities, or even turning down promotions. She tells herself it's bad luck, or just the way things are. But deep down, something much deeper is at play. A silent programming installed years ago, shaped by the story's fears and beliefs of her own family. Because before you learned how to count money, you learned how to count stories. The stories about money you heard at home. And those stories weren't neutral. They carried values, fears, and moral judgments. Maybe your parents spent their lives battling debt, and now you fear investing. Maybe you grew up hearing, "The important thing is to be happy, not rich," and now you feel guilty every time your bank account grows. Here's the part most people never realize. The way you handle money today was born from your own experience. It was born from theirs. What was survival for your parents might now be an invisible prison for you. Today, we're going to expose how family shapes and often sabotages your relationship with money. We won't stop at the diagnosis. You'll understand where these beliefs come from, how they affect your decisions, and most importantly, how to break free from them. Because the real inheritance we get from our family isn't always in the bank account. You might believe your financial choices are shaped by logic, planning, and your own life experience. But the truth is, much of what you feel, think, and decide about money was shaped long before you ever earned your first paycheck. Family teaches you about money not just when they talk about it, but perhaps more powerfully when they avoid the subject altogether. The silence around bills, the hushed arguments behind closed doors, the way praise is given or withheld when someone achieves success. Each of these moments is a silent lesson, quietly programming your beliefs about wealth, success, and self-worth. These messages can come in many forms. Direct phrases like "money is dirty," or "as long as you have enough to live, that's all that matters." Behavioral examples, it's like parents who spend everything by the end of the month, or those who hoard savings but never enjoy them. Emotional attitudes such as guilt, shame, envy, or pride when speaking about people who have more or less than you. What's fascinating and unsettling is that as children, we don't question these ideas. We absorb them without filter. And later, as adults, when we try to earn more, invest, or save, these invisible rules can pull us back into a financial pattern that was written decades before we were even aware of it. In some families, achieving financial success is unconsciously seen as a form of betrayal. If your parents or grandparents faced deep hardship, your subconscious might associate wealth with distancing yourself from them. And without realizing it, your mind will create subtle ways to avoid that outcome. That might look like rejecting promotions, sabotaging investments, or giving away money faster than you can make it. This is why breaking free isn't just about learning how to budget or invest. It's about identifying and rewriting the emotional script you inherited. In this video, we'll uncover how this invisible programming passes from one generation to the next, why it's so hard to break, and most importantly, the steps you can take to build a healthy, independent relationship with money, one that is truly yours, not just passed down to you. Because your family may have given you love, values, and memories, but they may also have handed you invisible chains. When Daniel was 8 years old, he would sit at the kitchen table, swinging his legs as he watched his mother count coins late into the night. The dim yellow light made the kitchen feel smaller, and the sound of clinking change was like a metronome, marking the rhythm of their life. She would arrange the coins into neat stacks, her hands moving with precision. A few for rent, a few for groceries, a few for the emergencies that always seemed to arrive uninvited. His father worked long hours in construction, often coming home with dust on his clothes and fatigue in his eyes. But no matter how hard he worked, the money always felt already spent. Daniel didn't grow up starving, but he grew up watching how every purchase was weighed, how treats were rare and often followed by guilt, watching the quiet tension in his parents' faces when the end of the month came too soon. Yet, while money was scarce, Daniel's curiosity was abundant. At school, he devoured books about entrepreneurs, inventors, and self-made millionaires. His heroes weren't superheroes or athletes. They were people who had escaped the gravitational pull of scarcity. Wealth, to him, wasn't greed. Wealth was a passport to safety, to freedom, to breathing without that tightness in your chest. He made himself a promise. One day I'll never have to count coins again. Let's fast forward 20 years. Daniel had kept that promise. Through grit, relentless learning, and a knack for spotting opportunities, he built a digital marketing agency from scratch. By the age of 35, he had employees, international clients, and a bank balance that his younger self would have thought belonged to a movie star. His friends called him a success story, living proof that you could rewrite your destiny. But here's the part no one saw. Every time Daniel landed a major contract or received a large payment, something strange would happen. The initial rush of excitement would fade, replaced by an uneasy restlessness. It was as if holding too much money felt dangerous, like standing too close to a fire. Within weeks, the money would start disappearing. Sometimes he gave it away. Generous loans to friends who didn't really need them. Gifts for family members who hadn't even asked. Other times, it was impulsive spending. Luxury gadgets, last-minute trips, extravagant dinners. The result was always the same. His account would shrink back down to a level that felt safe, familiar. At first, Daniel told himself he was just being generous. Then he convinced himself he was enjoying life. What was the point of money if not to spend it? But deep down, a question gnawed at him. Why can't I hold on to it? The answer came slowly, like pieces of a puzzle falling into place. Growing up, his parents had often warned him, people with too much money change, and not for the better. In his family's unspoken rule book, wealth was always paired with arrogance, selfishness, and moral decay. People who had too much stopped being one of us. So even though Daniel had fought hard to rise above his childhood limitations, a part of him, hidden deep in the subconscious, was still loyal to that old belief system. That loyalty whispered in the background. If you keep too much, you'll stop belonging. And that's the thing about rising above your past. It's not enough to climb the ladder. If the voice of your childhood is still echoing in your mind, it can pull you right back down. Daniel's story isn't rare. It's far more common than most people realize. And it proves a powerful truth. Escaping financial scarcity isn't just about making more money. It's about breaking the invisible contracts you signed without even knowing it. didn't happen overnight. The slide was slow, almost invisible. The kind you only notice when you're already halfway down. It began with little decisions. One month, Daniel's savings account was a bit lower than expected. He shrugged it off. The next, instead of reinvesting a major client payment into marketing, he bought a luxury watch he'd been eyeing. A reward, he told himself. After all, wasn't that the point of working so hard? But in truth, it was just about treating himself. It was about shrinking those numbers to a level that felt safe. The pattern repeated. Business trips turned into mini vacations. Meetings with potential investors were postponed because he didn't feel ready. He delayed hiring an operations manager, even though he knew the role would free him to focus on growth. Then came the bigger missteps. Promising partnership with a tech startup fell apart when Daniel hesitated to commit to a larger investment. The opportunity was time-sensitive, but Daniel stalled, telling himself he needed more data. The real reason? Feared what would happen if his company scaled too quickly. The tipping point arrived when his largest client, the one contract worth 6 figures a year, decided not to renew. It wasn't because of the market or a competitor swooping in. Truth was harder to face. Daniel had under-delivered, not on purpose, but through small acts of avoidance. Skipping creative meetings, playing it safe on campaigns, refusing to take the bold risks that had won the client in the first place. When the email came through ending the contract, Daniel sat at his desk for an hour without moving. He read it 3 times. Each word felt like it was chiseling away at the image he had built of himself. That night, he poured a drink and sat on his balcony, staring out at the city skyline. The lights glittered like a map of all the places he could have gone and didn't he? And in that quiet, he heard it again. His father's voice from decades ago. People with too much money change, and not for the better. He realized he had been living by that rule his entire life. His rise had been real, but so was his fall, because the market turned against him, not because he wasn't talented, but because deep down, part of him believed that staying too high for too long would cost him something more valuable than money: belonging. That's the cruel thing about family programming. It doesn't just influence how you start, it decides how far you let yourself go, and how quickly you'll find a way to pull yourself back. Daniel's loss wasn't just about revenue, it was about momentum, identity, and the haunting question of whether he truly deserved to be where he had climbed. And momentum, once broken, is far harder to rebuild than a bank account. What Daniel experienced goes far beyond simple financial mistakes or poor decisions. It's a deeply rooted psychological trap, one that almost everyone falls into without even realizing it: invisible family loyalty. From the moment we're born, we don't just inherit DNA. We inherit stories, emotions, and unspoken contracts that define who we are and how we relate to the world, especially when it comes to money. These invisible rules are passed down silently through generations. You might hear your family say things like, "Money is the root of all evil. We don't talk about money in this house. If you make too much, you'll lose your values." But what's more powerful than the words themselves are the feelings attached to them. The guilt, the fear, the shame, and even the pride that create an emotional ecosystem around money. Invisible family loyalty means that no matter how much you consciously want to break free and build wealth, a hidden part of you is still bound by these emotional ties. It's as if there's an unspoken promise, signed long ago, that you will stay loyal to your family's identity, including its struggles, beliefs, and limits. This creates a mental tug-of-war inside you. On one side is the desire to grow, prosper, and achieve financial freedom. On the other is the deep emotional pull to remain connected, to not outgrow the family values and struggles that shaped you. This internal conflict generates a psychological phenomenon called cognitive dissonance. The discomfort we feel when our actions clash with our beliefs. You want to succeed, you want to save, invest, and build wealth. But part of you feels guilt or fear. Guilt about leaving your family behind, or fear that you'll become someone you don't recognize. This dissonance often shows up as self-sabotage. Spending money impulsively or giving it away to prove you still loyal. Avoidance. Hesitating to take financial risks that could lead to growth. Emotional turmoil. Shame or anxiety tied to financial success. Daniel's story is a clear example of this. His impulsive spending and reluctance to hold on to wealth were not failures of character. They were his mind's way of honoring that invisible family contract. The good news? Recognizing this psychological error is the first step toward real freedom. When you become aware of these invisible loyalties, you gain the power to question them, challenge them, and rewrite your financial story. Financial freedom isn't just about numbers on a screen. It's about healing the emotional wounds passed down through generations. It's about choosing your own path, one that aligns with your true values, not the inherited fears of the past. Daniel's journey teaches us a vital truth. Your relationship with money is never just about numbers. It's a reflection of the stories, beliefs, and emotional legacies passed down through your family, often without your awareness. But here's the empowering part. You don't have to be a prisoner to those inherited stories. You have the power to rewrite them. The first step is awareness. Start by noticing the messages you absorbed about money growing up, the spoken and the unspoken. Ask yourself, which beliefs still hold me back? Which fears keep me stuck in old patterns? Next comes permission. Give yourself permission to question those beliefs. It's okay to want more. It's okay to succeed. It's okay to build wealth on your own terms, without guilt or shame. Then take action. Here are some practical steps to start shifting your money mindset today. Journal about your earliest memories of money and what feelings they bring up. Identify any family money rules you've unconsciously followed and decide which ones to keep or discard. Surround yourself with positive financial influences. Books, podcasts, mentors who support growth. Practice small acts of financial courage, like saving a bit more, investing a little, or saying no to spending that doesn't serve you. Remember, breaking free is a process, not a one-time event. It takes patience, self-compassion, and persistence. But every step forward is a victory. Where family gave you many things, love, history, and identity. But your financial future, that's yours to create. So ask yourself, what kind of money story do I want to tell? And how will I begin rewriting it today? Now that you've seen how deeply family shapes your relationship with money, it's time to take the next step. I want to hear from you. What messages about money did you grow up with? Do you find yourself relating to Daniel's story? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might be the breakthrough someone else needs to hear today. And if this video made you think differently about your own money mindset, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more insights into the hidden side of money. Remember, changing your money story starts with awareness, but it grows with community. So join us. Keep learning and take control of your financial future, one step at a time. Because the money you have tomorrow depends on the story you choose to believe today.